You look at political campaigns where they get elected, it is about the story that they are telling in the campaign. It's never about policies, because we all find out they don't do what they say they're going to do anyway. They get in there and they find out it's a different world than they, you know. It's a lot easier to talk about being president than it is to be president. A lot of things change. But you, because this guy is brilliant at the story, and you watch, he will make the story pay off, and he will have changed all the policies. He will keep not one of these promises. He'll do other things, but you know, it won't be anything like he campaigned on, and yet the story will be clean, because he gets this. And the real politicians get the story, is the key to it, always.
I just want to share, I had like a major panic attack in 2004, like on a major network show. I got all my lines. It was really bad. It was like really bad. I thought it was never going to work again, like ever. Like ever. Like I thought it was banned by the network. But no, it's not. You get over it. Like it apparently happens.
Oh, I've seen it happen.
I don't really get afraid. I don't get nervous anymore, but it's really bad.
No, I've seen it.
But you get like over it.
I've seen it happen to major people, and like, I saw Mary Tyler Moore one time, the 6th year of the show. She walked out and completely panic attacked. I mean, they had to just stop. They had to stop, send the audience home, to, you know, just talk. And it was her show, written for her, with her people, with her name on it, jokes for her, you know, everything. And yet, at that, there's something that panicked her. But I guarantee you, it's the anthem of Angela. Just go back and you can stop that, literally. And if any of you have ever had a panic attack, it isn't like being nervous. It's a whole other deal. But you can stop it in its tracks by going to the story. What is my job here? If I don't do this thing, then they don't know this. And it'll leap over all of that stuff, because when the panic attack happens, all that stuff is ultra real. It's, you know, you're not neurotic, you're panicked. It's a different game. And yet, I believe that you can stop it if you go, what is the story? And literally, when I say what is the story, what's the first thing that happens? What's the second thing that happens? What's the third thing that happens? If it's just, would you like another cup of coffee? There aren't too many things happening. But if you'll just stop and go, what's the first thing? Is I have to look and say, you know, just go through the events that are tied together to create the meaning. And even if it's a little tiny meaning, like do you want another cup of coffee? Stopping and going back to the story will stop all the other stuff. Because, this is the reason that it works, the story is a real thing. It is a real series of events. Whether we're making them happen or we're observing them actually happening, it is a series of events that have a meaning. It could be a really tiny, subtle, almost nothing meaning, but it still is a series of events that has meaning. As soon as you go there, the brain is fooled. The brain can no longer deal with the imaginary stuff. It is now dealing with actualities. Even if they're fictional, they are actual, because a story has one thing hooked to another, hooked to another, hooked to another. And it works a different part of the brain. This is why it psychologically works. I think those are the same thing. I think those are the same thing. You know, because part of what the audience has to leave with is made of what these two characters are interacting about. That's all the same thing. But when anybody looks at this, they must, my job is to make sure that anybody watching this leaves with those ideas, whether they could express them out again or not. You know, they have I told this story, even if it is, would you like another cup of coffee? When I am done with this, has everybody seen a person offer another person a cup of coffee? That's what has to be accomplished here. Not, will I say coffee right? Will I remember coffee? Is coffee really important? Is this too small a part for me? All that other stuff goes away when you go, my job is to create for everybody a person asking a person if they want a cup of coffee. If I tie the little impulses that have to happen together so that everybody goes, oh, that was a person asking another person if they want a cup of coffee. If that's all they can see, then you did your job. If they see a nervous actor or a hysterical, you didn't do your job. Your job is they can see nothing but the story. And if you're fully invested in that, they have to be, and your mind begins working on tying the events together, not these errant things that make up nervousness. That are, like in that case, what could go wrong, or when could I halt, or what if they say this, or what if they say nothing I know anything about, or what if they bring up the subject, any of those things. If my job is, everybody who leaves this room has seen this story, and they could all recount it if we forced it. They would give their version, but they'd all recount the story. If that's our job, then that other train of thought can't work. Can't happen.
Do you ever put any backstory to it? For instance,
To the
she
degree
came in and this happy thing happened. Can I get
Well,
another cup?
only insofar as backstory makes the portion that will be seen active. If it somehow stimulates what's going to happen in that time, and the audience doesn't need to know that.
No.
They just need to firmly see what's in the window of the story. If it serves your doing that, yes, then backstory's fine. I think it's useful to some people. All right, folks, that's the story. Now, here's how you practice this, because it's very easy, really. Start looking for the story underneath the circumstances. And this is great because nobody's going to test you, and you don't have to be right. So when you're standing in the 7-Eleven, and there's a guy coming in with the delivery cart, and the woman at the cash register is glancing at him, and somebody else steps up for coffee, figure out a story there. Go, oh, the guy coming in has known this woman for a long time, and he's comfortable here, and she is acknowledging his presence, but she sees that the order is a little short, and just let yourself start playing with what those possibilities could be, just as a way to exercise your mind toward this. Now, some of you already have this mentality. Some of you who are writers do this already. So just do it when you're going into audition. Some of you need to exercise this a little bit and just let yourself see. If I just saw this and I reported to my friend, here's what happened at 7-Eleven in these 30 seconds today. If my friend saw it, could they agree? Will we be right? Of course we won't be right. Who knows? You'd have to take testimony and depositions, and and then you might not be right. But you'll never know that. But if anybody else saw this, could they possibly have the same idea that I had? Start training your mind to do that, so that when you go in, you have that mindset of what am I doing here? Everybody who sees this needs to leave with this story.